significant period of time. And when I
Like
say
years or?
I don't know if it was a year. That feels long, but maybe 9 months. I mean, a long time.
Okay.
I just want to go back. So I had found a house for him to rent in New York because he had asked me. I'd been looking for my father, and I found one, which was a former Iranian embassy. Someone in town. I know that you had any money. I was able to have all my I said to myself, I found this house, but I don't think I can do it. It was a separate and how some of the legal rights, I think it's on sector C, and I put back the protection because it had to go back. So he had house, I had moved into a 10-foot because all that happened either north or solar or that. So he came as my back because I kept things, it felt very similar. Anyway, so I had no key to his house, I had no free access to his house. And the entire time we were there, which was until the beginning of 1986, I never spent a single night in the house.
But you said a minute ago that that you had slept on occasion, and at the time you remember thinking, it's a relationship, then you really were not had a relationship.
Well, I thought,
did that change over between 192 whatever and years forward?
So I did travel with him.
Okay.
So I go to Maldives on Egypt. He had a house actually. No, that's not true. Yeah, that's not true. He had a house in Ohio. Okay. And he had the house in Ohio because of his business relationship with the director. And I had to go and decorate and put that house together. And when we traveled together, we seen the same, but not in. But I didn't.
Go ahead. Okay. So you say when you went to his house in Palm Beach, Ohio, or even traveling, but if it was just traveling with him, you would stay in the same bed, so sleep in the same bed with him.
Yes.
Okay.
Epstein had a heart condition. Heart condition.
Heart condition. Okay.
Which meant that he didn't have intercourse a lot, which is nice because I actually do have an abortion, which proves having a lot.
So what was your understanding of his heart condition? What prevented him from having intercourse regularly?
I don't know. He makes also sex.
Well, let's come back. We're going to obviously spend some time, a lot of time on that company we got, so we'll come back to that. So where you were talking about, you were talking around with him, he rented the New York Walmart house in around 6. That time, I believe you said that he was basically your life, like you're with him pretty regularly.
Well, I moved with him regularly. That is one of those misnomers. I mean, at the beginning, I did see him all the time, but I worked in his office, so I would go to the office and see, and I would count in my head, and I would count, that the day that I would see him. But I never say anything. I leave studying until 93, 94. I didn't know. I think he was still with his actual girlfriend, who was Eva Anderson, who became Eva Dubin. They had been together, my understanding, I think about 10 years. I'm not sure, but that's what I think, 10 years. And I had understood from my girlfriend initially that they weren't together, and Epstein himself had told me that they were not together, but I don't think that was true. In fact, I know it's not true. So they were still together up until I think 94, when at some point in that period of time Eva met Glenn Dubin and they got married. I think in 94. I don't remember when they got married, but she was his best friend and his everything. He told me that he always wished that he had married her and had a child with her, and I know that she was family for him for his whole life. And I think even, I'm not sure this is true, but you guys will know if this is true or not, when he came back from Paris and you arrested him, I don't know if Eva was on the plane. Now I think that either I read it in the discovery that I received, or I saw her, even if she wasn't on the plane, it must have been some communication where she was in Paris or something like that, or the other, I don't know, is the correct version. So this still obviously there it is, and remains still like that. He was still like that. And also now, which I didn't know at the time, was that he saw lots of other women, and I know that now because I can see it in the books, and I now it's,
Case
yeah,
that
I didn't know
that along.
I absolutely not.
So just we're going to spend time on everything you're talking about, but just kind of close out big picture your relationship. So we're now in the late 90s. Continue on with saying high level to the extent you can about your relationship.
So my responsibilities increased with each acquisition that he got, at each product. So I believe the first thing that purchased was the ranch in Italy.
Okay.
And so what he had passed me up onto that, and I think that was purchased in 94. But he had told me, one of the things that we did was visit, in my mind I say every state, but it wasn't every state, but many states, to go look at real estate. And so I know we went to Montana, I know we went to Utah, and it was to go look at real estate, to be honest. And then I opened just in Mexico, and he just loved Mexico. And then I remember having the ranch, I don't know, and then he ended up buying the ranch, and I think the work it came from, well, it was Canadian, but and bought the ranch, and then I had to deal with that, and dealing that was expensive. The way I thought it was actually the way I think is the best way to say how my role was as a general measure. He continued like an adult. So the ranch was very challenging. Not only had BLM and so to maintain your BLM you had to have cattle. And I love animals, so something horses, and so I wanted, if you're going to have a ranch, I like horses, so I think you should have a ranch. You're not going to have things that make it special.
Were you paid by him along the way?
So
during his time?
I think salaries, my memory is about 10,000 a year, that's my maybe. And then with each, as it became more obvious, I was whenever I heard anything. And but
Do you, and financially, you weren't relying on him. The 25,000 or whatever you were paid, were you relying on that money to live, his generosity to live, or did you have your own money?
so there's a.
Yeah, I was just thinking between like the 90s, maybe I guess into the 2000s.
I just want to hit something on the head right now. There's a tremendous amount of reporting that I had a trust fund. I never had a trust at any time.
So how did you live with, I mean, 25,000 on that to live on?
No, so I had during the time the secret, truthful recording that I'm saying, in relation to my father's partner, and to establish I had been involved in a way with his business or with any shenanigans by him. I've probably already heard of it now, so I forgot what my memory is. So I received a letter from them that said, I care about my business, and my name, maybe helpful, was like never a cousin. I had nothing with them, so I've never in any case, that's what it was. I was really, and
So, but obviously your father and your family had a lot of businesses. Is it because the money, whatever equity was in the business, just stayed with your other family members?
No, there was no money. So my father was never attached to me. He was born a peasant, a real one, the floor, no shoes, no clothes, some of it, but not, sorry, I didn't say, and nothing. And he never, I mean, there were things that he extravagances. He loved food and he couldn't, so obviously need money for that, but there was nothing else. And there was a synchrony from here at any time, ever.
Okay, so when you're talking about your life with Mr. Epstein in the 90s, you're very different financially. You're very different financially positioned than he is. He's giving you money. He's paying for when you fly. He's paying for your flights.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you interrupted you when you're saying how you were functioning as a manager. You helped in the Maxwell ranch. So did your role with him continue like that for many years or for long?
So I continued in 2000. Well, by 1999, relationship had founded.
Why?
I don't know, two reasons. We left something like that, so we started having sexual relations in 1999. Not for sex, sorry. We didn't go share bedrooms or whatever. He had another office. I definitively knew that it was over after 9/11 because we were in New York. And don't know if he was in New York. I mean, he kind of knows. And it was a ceremony for you in New York. We didn't know. I didn't know. Nobody knew what was going on. And he was a 71st Street arrested in History House, and he wouldn't at all. So his mum, who went to law school, was in sort of Maxwell, just asked me to talk to her. And then I knew they were at the hearing, you're not going to be there, someone you're never going to be there. So for me, that was the line in the sand. And he had another English girlfriend, actually, from 2000.
Are you, though, still on his... Are you still being paid by him at this point?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead. So what at that point when you say you realize kind of...
Well, I mean, I'm talking about I had wanted to marry children, and Epstein had encouraged me to believe that would, I don't know about them, certainly by the late 90s anyway, the marriage part was never going to happen. I had believed that maybe in 96, 97, 98 maybe, but then I realized it wasn't that. But I did think that we might have a child. which was what I had really wanted. I realized.
So what happens between 2001 and then 2019? Your relationship with him?
So
give or take 2001.
So we started having physical happy. We had new events, I think, FaceTime, Instagram, and to benefits, if you will, just not sex. Sorry. So, and I started dating.
Okay.
And I met someone with production in 2000, and him was heading a sound recording because we had a relationship, but the thing went on until 2010. Okay.
Did you have him in
No, well, indirect, I would say, I was the dinner where I met her, but it wasn't. After that, President was my friend, and everyone had food, and I didn't breakfast for dinner. So we did restroom, so this is plane. I've been known as last protect.
Was Epstein on the plane with that group?
On that trip, yes. Oh, well, yes. But that, yes.
So when you say the dinner was with where? Okay. And so you had flown over with, so who was on the plane with? I mean, everybody. You said Mr. President?
Yes.
You were on the plane?
Yes.
Who else? That you were on? Not, you don't know them.
Was President Clinton on the plane?
It would have his great documents. Jason could actually
So why? So how did you meet? So why you said that's when you met him and met him through Clinton?
Well, I don't think I would have met him. It was President dinner, and it came with President to his reasons. That's why I got.
Okay, so so in the time that you're dating, that you're with him, 2009, you still working for Mr. Epstein at that time?
So I do think I've tried very hard. It's been very hard to keep working for him because this is a complex story. I'm not talking about anything untoward. Just the sheer size of it, including the construction project, houses, it's a really significant job. And I ran all the software management properties and construction. I'm talking tens of millions of dollars. I can't remember what much it was for construction on any given year. It's gone, but these are significant projects. And so that was what I did, and I managed budgets. Well, I didn't manage budgets, I oversaw the budget. So I made sure that if you said you bought an air conditioning plant, I saw air conditioning plant, and I called the island manager, did you receive the